Grow your cleaning business, make more money, have more time. This is the Profit Cleaners Podcast with your hosts, Brandon Condry and Brandon Shane.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Profit Cleaners Podcast, the only place where you can learn from the top 1% of cleaning business owners from around the world to take it to the next level and win. Guys, I'm your host, Brandon Shane, and today I'm actually just doing a solo cast. Brandon Condry's out doing some stuff, and I just had some words I wanted to share with you guys, a story I wanted to share with you guys to encourage you in your business journey. Because as you all know, it can be pretty lonely out there being an entrepreneur, and sometimes you feel like nobody gets it, nobody understands what you're doing, you feel alone. This is why we have masterminds. This is why we have, we surround ourselves with other people doing it, so you guys can take it to the next level. So a lot of what we work on in the coaching that we do, a lot of what we talk about on these podcasts has to do with mindset, and it has to do with positioning yourself to win, right? And so I just wanted to share a quick story with you guys, just a really quick podcast today. I love stories and kind of analogies to kind of paint pictures. And this is a story that has stuck with me for a long time that one of my mentors shared with me a long time ago. And just wanted to share it with you guys today. So essentially, the concept is you're building your business, right? And basically, I'm going to relate this back to the story of the two brothers back in Egypt building their pyramids, right? So their father, their family had commissioned the two brothers to build these pyramids, right? And I think there was even like a reward at the end of it. Whoever finished the pyramid faster, the father was going to reward that brother for finishing the project and kind of for their hard work and everything that they've done. So anyways, the goal, the two brothers, they know that they got to build these pyramids. They know the father's expecting them to do this, and they have to do it as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible. So the two brothers start out. There's one brother, he's like super strong. He's ripped, he's shredded, he's got all this strength. And so he just starts going at it, right? And he just starts picking up these huge blocks and building his pyramid, right? One block at a time, one day at a time, he's moving these huge, massive rocks over and just grunting through the work, just grinding it out. Meanwhile, and everyone's applauding him, going, "Oh yeah, good job, you're doing awesome. You're beating your brother already, right?" And he looks over at his other brother and sees his brother like literally doing nothing, like sitting down, writing plans. Looks like he's absolutely doing nothing, right? So he starts making fun of him, being like, "What are you doing over there? What are you doing? You're absolutely wasting time. You're being lazy. What are you doing?" The father does the same thing. He looks at his son and says, like, "Man, you're totally messing this up. Look at your brother. Look how hard he's working over there. Look at him. He's already got the whole, first layer of his pyramid built." So sure enough, months and months go by. The two brothers are still at it. They're building their pyramid. And the one brother, the bigger, stronger brother, he's like now halfway done with his pyramid, right? And they're all still looking, the father, the family, they're looking over at the other brother. And he's still barely getting things going. He's actually building some other contraption, and they're like, "What the heck is he doing over there?" Just like, "We're totally gonna win building this pyramid, and I'm gonna get all the prizes and rewards from my dad." So anyways, that's ultimately what everyone's thinking, right? This is probably how most people look at you when you're growing your business. They're looking over, they're like, "Why don't you just get a job? Like, why are you working so hard over there? What are you even doing? Like, why don't you just pick up a rock and move it and just do it like everyone else?" That's how you do it, right? So most people look at you as an entrepreneur, and that's why you feel kind of like an outcast or an outlier, which is true. Only 7% of the world is actually truly entrepreneurs, which is crazy, but that's a real statistic. Everyone thinks it's cool to be an entrepreneur, and everyone's starting businesses because it's like the cool new trend and fad these days. Didn't always used to be like that, but actually, like, very few percentage of the world are actually true entrepreneurs. So if you are one, and if you're building a real business, you should feel very lucky, very blessed that you are doing what you're doing. So not very many people can do it, right? It takes a very special mindset. It takes a very special set of skills that you have to constantly be sharpening in order to win. So anyways, back to the story, guys. So you might relate to this, the one brother. one guy's just grinding it out, working really hard. Maybe that's you too. Maybe you're just cleaning. You're grinding out the work. You're doing everything yourself, and you're like, look at me, and everyone's praising you. Wow, you're working so hard, right? You look really busy, right? Which is what most of us do. We create all these things in our life to make us feel important and actually look really busy, when in fact, we're maybe not creating as much impact as we think we could, or as we think we are, right? So going back to the story, the two brothers are building their pyramids. The one brother's cranking along, he's grinding it out, he's hustling, he's putting these blocks in, he's sweating. Everyone's like, wow, you're working so hard. The other brother, he's literally building this contraption, like I said, and everyone's like, what are you doing? Well, come to find out, the other brother who was building this contraption, it turns out he's actually engineering a pulley system, right? He's actually building the machine that is going to very quickly transport these large rocks to build the pyramid, right? These huge pieces, slabs of rock, whatever they are. And now, even though he's looking over at his other brother who's now halfway done with this pyramid, he's like, all right, now I just finished my contraption. I built the machine, I put the structure in place. So now he flips on the switch. Everyone's like, what is he doing? He flips on the switch, and sure enough, his pulley system quickly starts moving these huge, massive slabs, right? And moving them into place quicker than anyone thought it was even possible, right? And the other brother's looking over and starting to get a little bit nervous, right? And you're like, oh no. Like, he's actually starting to gain some huge momentum here, right? So this pulley system he turns on, and it just starts cranking out, putting all these rocks in place, to the point where in a very short amount of time, the other brother's still cranking through, slowly working through building his pyramid, but he's made a lot of progress. The other brother, within literally a few days, maybe a few weeks, completely surpasses him, finishes the entire pyramid, and he is the winner. At the end of the day, he is the one that wins the cash and prizes, the reward from his dad. And everyone's kind of like dumbfounded and like looking around, being like, what in the world? How did he do that? And, kind of like pointing fingers and being like, hey, that's not fair. You cheated, right? Just like the people do in the real world, right? You spend many, many, many years building a business, building a structure, building a pulley system to build something on the other side of that. And then it looks like an overnight success, right? Everyone's like, oh, you just got rich overnight, right? You just had success overnight. When in reality, you've been slaving away, grinding away at that business, developing the plans, developing the strategies, working long hours, burning the candle at both ends for years maybe, right? And nobody sees all the hard work that you put in. Nobody sees the strategy. Nobody sees what's behind the scenes, what you go through, and your mindset, all the things you have to build along the way. And so the moral of the story, guys, is when everyone around you is looking at you saying, you're crazy. What are you doing building a business? What are you doing building this pulley system over here? Like, it's worthless. Do some real work. Go get a real job. When you hear the world echoing those things in your ear, that's when you have to silence all of that and remember your vision. Remember why you're doing this, and remember that you're working smart and not hard. You're building a pulley system, right? And there was just a quick phrase I wanted to share with you guys that I learned on one of my coaching calls recently, which I shared in another podcast as well. But it's good to know. And if it's easier to start, it's going to be harder to scale. If it's harder to start, the easier it is to scale. So in this exact example, guys, it was much harder for the one brother to spend time, draw out plans, really think about how he's going to build this pulley system, go get supplies, get people to help him build it, however he did it. It took a lot longer. It took more vision. It took more thinking, right? Versus just grunting it out and picking up the rock and moving it over like the other brother. However, in the real world, people will reward you for looking busy. They will reward you for filling up your day and having all these calls and all these things because you look busy. When in reality, if you're actually working smart, not hard, and you're really spending time on the right areas of your business, focused on the not just money generating, revenue generating tasks, but the things that are going to, like the critical tasks to move you forward. And if you're building those critical systems, you might have people looking at you saying, and especially in the beginning, what are you doing? You're moving slower. And a lot of times this is the kind of the temptation is to move faster and to try to take shortcuts in business, right? How can I do it faster? How can I just push the button and do the easy button? I don't have to hire employees. I don't have to do the system. I don't have to, right? It looks attractive. However, in the long run, when you're looking at the big picture, building your pyramid, building your business, when you build the right contraptions, when you build your pulley system. This goes back to an earlier episode. I talked about building your pipeline, right? When you're building that pipeline out, it takes a long time. But once you're done building out that pipeline, you've layer by layer built out the systems. Now you're at the end of that pipeline and you can switch on the faucet, switch on the tap, and the water starts flowing, right? And so it took a lot of time to get there, but it's worth it because you have long-term vision, long-term thinking. This is not a quick overnight get rich quick business. You can start one of those if you'd like, but that's not what we're teaching. That's not what we're talking about. So going back to the story, the brother that did the hard work, he did the thing that most people wouldn't want to do. He sat down, he strategized, he thought about the best way to do this so he could spend the hard work and the time up front to build the systems, to put the structure in place, to build the pulley system so that he could flip on the switch and everything just moved into place very, very quickly, right? And he ended up beating his brother in the competition. And so ultimately, guys, in the game of life, in the game of business, I want you guys to think about, how can I do the hard work first? What do I need to do, the hard work up front, to put the systems in place, to build my pulley system, to put those structures in place so that I can scale way faster. That pulley system removed variables, right? It removed the possibility of him pulling a muscle or getting hurt or hurting his back or whatever variable of him, making the progress of finishing that pyramid. That's a lot of variables. If you're just doing all the work yourself, things could go wrong. You could get sick. Something could slow you down. Versus if you spend the time to build a true system, build a team, build that pulley system that's going to quickly deploy the product. It's going to efficiently deploy that customer experience consistently over and over and over again. It's so much more worth it to spend the time, especially up front, especially if you're new in the business, if you have been going at it for a while and you're still moving the rocks and doing the heavy work yourself. Time to start thinking about building a pulley system. Time to start thinking about what is the hard work I can do now to set myself up for success. When everyone's looking at me and saying you're crazy, you're not crazy. You're being strategic and you're being a visionary and you're being a long-term thinker. And that's exactly why you're going to be set apart in this business moving forward, because a lot of your competition is moving rocks. They're moving those boulders by hand. They're not building systems. They're not creating experiences for people. They're not doing the hard work. So if you guys want to be different, set yourself apart and build something that's truly sustainable, that once you build it, once you do the hard work up front, you can flip on a switch, you can open the tap and the water starts flowing, the rocks start moving into place. Start thinking about that, guys, with that concept of building your foundation, building your key elements, your key structures up front, doing the stuff that most people don't want to do, so that you can have a life and a business tomorrow that you're amazingly proud of. You're so excited to be part of. You're building something real, something sustainable, something long-term, a legacy that you can be part of, that you can pass on to your family, that can run without you, or you can sell as an investment someday and you can cash out and retire. So if you're building it the right way, the value will be there. If you have built a very successful pulley system that deploys your business in the right way, that's super valuable. That took time to build. That took strategy. That took thought. The other people that are just grinding it out, eventually they're going to burn out. The other brother moving the huge rocks and boulders, that's exactly probably what happened, right? Is he just slowed down because he was relying on his strength, on himself, right? Everything was reliant on him. Just like a lot of us when we're building our businesses, we are the business. So we have to start thinking, how can we replace ourselves? How do we get out of our business? How do we start building the pulley systems, the systems and the structures in our business, so that even the days that we don't feel like it or that we can't make it, it just keeps going without us, right? It's a well-oiled machine. And so ultimately, we're humans, we're naturally lazy. We're gonna burn out at some point. So if you don't want to become the competition that gets outworked, outlasted, outperformed by everyone else, build the systems, do it the right way, build your teams so that it is, in essence, going to continue on without you. It's not reliant on you and how strong you are that day and ultimately how strong your muscles are to move the next rock. It's ultimately dependent on your system, right? So think about that story, that analogy. It's just a fun one that I think of often when I'm building my business, guys. Very similar to the pipeline story. And just remember, guys, long-term thinking, right? Not short-term thinking. Think long-term. How can I build this business so that it will continue to scale? And you're always going to be doing the hardest work up front. That's when it's the hardest. That's when there's the most pressure. That's when there's the most uncertainty, doubt, anxiety, and fear, which means the best thing you could do is take action. Anytime you're feeling those emotions, take action. Anytime everyone's looking at you saying, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why are you working so hard? Maybe you are working so hard. Maybe you need to stop moving all the rocks and actually get into building your actual business, working on your business instead of being in your business. So that's the story for today, guys. Take it, run with it, start shifting your mindset, because 99% of this game is mindset. Just like athletes, just like Olympic athletes, we are in the game of business. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life. It's, I think, even harder than any sports I've ever done in my life, the game of business, because you have to consistently show up and you have to never give up. And it's not just training seasonally for this one game or this one tournament. It's all the time. It's a nonstop game. You guys have to be in it to win it, all in. Your mind has to be right. You have to constantly be upgrading your mindset. And constantly, like, one of the best things you could ever learn as an entrepreneur is the ability to learn new skills. That's going to basically guarantee your success. So learning new skills, setting up new systems, learning how to set up those systems, like surrounding yourself with people that are doing it, right? That can show you how to do it, not have to recreate the wheel and figure it out on your own mistakes, right? So I'll leave you with that. Warren Buffett said it's better to learn from other people's mistakes than your own mistakes. So instead of building your pyramid on your own and your business all on your own, grinding it out, start thinking about how can you build smart systems? How can you build a team? How can you build a pulley system that's going to help you move efficiently? It's going to help you take even more action and be even more impactful with your business so you can scale and grow even faster. So that's the story for today, guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the opportunity to help you grow your cleaning business. We're here with you on the journey. Let's put some blocks in place. Let's build some pipelines. Let's build some systems. Get out there, get after it, and keep it clean, guys.
Thanks for joining us today. To get more info, including show notes, updates, trainings, and super cool free stuff, head over to profitcleaners.com. And remember, keep it clean.